Good day, everyone. I am Sunshine C. Paharan, and today I will discuss one of the most important subjects in our journey as a future teachers, which is the field study. Field study is not a subject, it's not just a subject requirement. It is our first real exposure to what teaching truly looks like. It is where we see actual students, actual teachers, and actual classroom situations. Many of us think teaching is simply standing in front and explaining. But when we observe real classes during our field study, we realize that teachers do many things at the same time. They teach the lesson, they manage behavior, they motivate learners and they solve problems and adjust strategies. This is why field study is very important. So at the end of this video, you should be able to define field study and explain its purpose in teacher education, describe the role of reflective observation in improving teaching practice, identify what pre-service teachers observe during field study, the teaching strategies, classroom environment, and learner behavior. Explain how field study shapes professional growth and readiness for teaching, and demonstrate the ability to analyze and respond to common challenges encountered during field study, such as classroom diversity, student misbehavior, and disengagement. So now let us know what is field study. Field study is a guided, school-based experience where pre-service teachers observe real classroom situations to understand how teaching and learning actually happen. So this means that you don't just read about teaching, you actually see it happening. You watch during our times in field study. We watch how teachers explain lessons, how students behave, and how teachers solve problems and how learning happens. It connects theory to reality. So in college, we learn students learn better through interaction. But in field study, as we observe during our field study, students becoming active when they work in groups. That is when learning becomes real and meaningful. So let us proceed to the purpose and importance of field study. So why is it important or why field study is very important? What is the purpose? So the purpose is to bridge theory and practice by allowing future teachers to see how lesson planning, teaching strategies, and classroom management are applied in actual settings. So the purpose is we, as future teacher, it prepares us for our future career. It help us to gain confidence, learn classroom reality, and understand student behavior. We observe mga different teaching styles of the teacher. We observe different behavior of the students. So as we observe, we must think of different mga strategy and how are we going to handle when we become a teacher. So we might think students are always quiet and behavioral before observation, but during observation we see some students talking loudly, not paying attention, feeling shy, struggling to understand. And now that teaching is not easy, it requires patience, strategies, and understanding. So there are core components of field study. First is classroom observation. Classroom observations is the process of watching how teachers teach and how students learn in an actual classroom. So during our observation, it helps us pre-service teachers understand different teaching styles, classroom routines, and student interactions. For example, whilst observing a student, teacher may notice how a teacher uses questioning techniques to encourage participation, or how group activities help students understand the lesson better. So as we observe, we watch how the teachers use teaching strategies, so how they're going to teach and what activity did he or she give the students. So students will be engaged in the activity. Next is after we observe is we record and reflect. This means that think deeply about what you saw, or we must reflect on what strategies am I going to apply in this kind of um, problem or challenges. Like um, for example, there are some students mga noisy, not listening to the discussion. So you must reflect it on how are you going to handle that kind of behavior of the students. So in recording a reflection, you don't just write. The teacher taught the lesson, you think, why did the teacher use that strategy? Why did the students become noisy? And you will know why did students become active. So this helps you improve your future teaching. For example, after observing a lesson, a student may write a journal about how the teacher handled disrupted behavior and reflect on how they might handle the same situation differently on the future. So as we observe during our field study time, we write how the teacher handled disrupted behavior and how are we going to handle that kind of situations. So after we observe, we must reflect it. So next, another thing that we're going to observe is the teaching strategies of the teachers. So there are many teaching strategies. Now let us talk about one of the most important parts of field study, teaching strategies. So teaching strategies are the different ways or methods teacher use to help understand the lesson better. Because not all students learn in the same way. Some learn fast, some learn slowly, and some like reading while others learn better by doing. That is why teachers do not use only one method. They use different strategies to make learning easier, more interesting, and more effective. As future teacher, we must learn how to recognize these strategies during observation because these often appear in the lab exam and are very important in real teaching. So the first teaching strategies is blended learning. This is a teaching approach that combines traditional classroom instruction with the use of technology or online learning. For example, a teacher may explain a lesson in class and then let students watch an educational video or answer online quizzes. So, this method helps students learn at their own pace while still receiving guidance from the teacher. So that is a common this is common today because technology is part of education. So next strategy is cooperative learning. We all know what is cooperative learning. This is students work together in small groups. So this strategy is each group or each member should cooperate during the group activity. So this helps students to to socialize with their classmates. For example, in a science activity, one student may write, another may draw, another may report the group's answer. This helps develop teamwork and communication skills of the students. Because when students work alone all the time, some may feel shy or afraid to answer. But when they are in groups, they feel more comfortable sharing ideas. They learn from each other, not only from the teacher, but from their classmates. Next strategy is differentiated instruction. This strategy is where the teacher adjusts lessons, activities, or materials to meet the different learning needs and abilities of students. This is where teacher adjusts the lesson based on students' abilities, needs, and learning styles. This means that teacher does not give the same task to all students because Not all students learn at the same level because inside of the one classroom there are different learning styles of students. There are fast learners, slow learners, visual learners, and active learners. If the teacher gives only one type of activity, some students may feel bored, while others may feel confused, so the teacher gives different tasks to match their level. Next strategies is gamification. Gamification is the use of game elements like point, rewards, levels, and challenges to make learning more engaging and fun. So, through these strategies, um, as we observe is teachers using games, so students should be engaged in the activity and some will participate. Because many students love games, when learning feels like a game, students become more interested and active. Instead of feeling pressured, they feel excited. For example, teachers gives a quiz using a game format. Students earn points for correct answer. So, ang uban is mo participate na jud sila. So, through that strategies, as we observe through that strategies is the effect on that strategies to students. It increases motivation, making learning fun, and improves participation. Next strategy is scaffolding. Scaffolding is a teaching method where the teacher gives step-by-step support to help students learn new skills until they can do tasks independently. This strategies is where the teacher gives step-by-step support to students until they can do the task by themselves. For example, in a math subject, a teacher first demonstrates how how to solve a math problem, then solves it together with the class, and finally let students try it on their own. So that is scaffolding. First is you must guide the students. After you guide the students, let the students do the task independently. So that is scaffolding. Next is authentic assessment. It involves giving students real-life tasks to show what they have learned. So as we observed during our field study is the teacher gives mga any activity, for example, role play. So through that activity is students can apply what they have learned during the discussion. So we observed that field study, during our field study. So for example, students may create a brochure about environmental protection to show their understanding of the topic. So through that is an authentic assessment because you let the students create a brochure about environmental protection. So you give them a real life task to show what they have learned. Instead of only writing tests, students may create project, poster, or presentations. Then the next strategy is project-based learning. So this method where students learn by working on project over a period of time. This allows them to explore real-world problems and apply their knowledge. This strategy is when students learn by creating something meaningful connected to real life. Instead of just listening, students produce something. This strategy focuses on learning by doing by learning by doing by Jean Piaget. For example, students may work together to create a small garden project to learn about plants and responsibility. Next is flipped classroom. We already use these strategies which is flipped classroom. This is an approach where students study lesson content at home, such as watching videos, and then use classroom time for discussion and activities. Flipped classroom it is means that students study the lesson at home first, then do the activities in class. For in traditional way, teacher explain in class, students do homework at home. But in flipped classroom, students study at home, then teachers guides activities in the class. For example, students watch a lesson video at home. In class, they do exercises and ask questions. So the effect of it to the students is more time for practice and discussion. So now, let us proceed to the classroom management. So, what is classroom management? So, classroom management, it refers to the skills and strategies that teachers use to keep classroom organized, peaceful, and focused on learning. It is not just about controlling noise and disciplining students. It includes setting rules, managing behavior, keeping students focused, and creating a respectful environment, preventing problems before they start. So, why classroom management is very important? Even if a teacher is very smart and knows the lesson well, learning will not happen if students are too noisy, students are fighting, students are not listening, and students are distracted. So, this is why it is very important in teaching to manage the classroom. So, in order to manage the classroom, we good classroom management creates a safe classroom, a calm learning space, respect between teachers and students. So in while observing during field study, while observing the classroom or how the teacher manage the classroom, you will ask what rules should we follow to make our class peaceful. Then because the first question is let students have established guidelines. So you ask them what rules should we follow or what rules should we or should you follow to make our class peaceful? Should the students will answer no shouting, listen when someone speaks, raise hand before talking. Because students help make the rules, they feel responsible to follow them. So the effect of that class rules is students behave better because they are responsible of that rules. So that you let them help establish the guidelines. Next is model ideal behavior. So as we observe during field study, teachers show the behavior they expect from students by being respectful, patient, and organized. For example, when a teacher speaks politely, students learn to speak politely as well. So students copy what the teachers show to them, the teacher's tone and behavior. This teaches respect without saying a word. So what you should observe in field study while observing, then we'll ask ourselves, how does the teacher control the noise? How does the teacher correct students? Does the teacher shout or stay calm? How do students respond? So these are important skills you will use in the future. Next is the document rules. So it is very important to document rules or to write the rules in the wall so that they will always see that in the classroom. Teachers, you may post it in the wall so that they remember what is expected to them. Next is praise students. Praising students for good behavior encourages them to continue doing the right thing. So, while observing, we must kanang see teacher na they will praise students so that students will behave or they will copy what their other students doing. So in praising students, it's very important to have a positive reinforcement. For example, for example, good job for raising your hand. So it motivates other students to follow the same behavior, so they will participate. Why? While you praise the students. Next is handling classroom challenges. Teachers face challenges like disrupted behavior, lack of attention, and diverse learner. So, so this handling this very calmly. Students keep talking loudly instead of shouting the teacher. Walks near the students, give a serious look, and continues teaching. The student becomes quiet visual control without creating fear. So, so we all observe that um, students will observe that Some students will um, of task behavior, they show of task behavior, lack of attention. So to handle that kind of situation, you must go to the students who is noisy so that they will participate. So for example, a teacher may move a noisy students closer to the front to help them stay focused or give extra attention to students who struggle to understand the lesson. So now, since we're done with classroom management, let's proceed to how we observe learner behavior and engagement. So first is student participation and interaction. This refers to how students take part in activities, answer questions, and work with classmates. So this is about how students join activities, answer questions, and talk with classmates during the lesson. Next is motivational attention levels. This refers to how interested and focused students are during the lesson. For instance, students who listen carefully and complete tasks show high motivation. So this show how interested students are. If they listen, focus, and do their work, it means they are motivated. Next is responses to teaching strategies. This focuses on how students react to different teaching methods. So, for example, students may become more active and excited when the teacher uses games or group activities. This is how students react to the teacher's methods. So, when you use gamification strategies, you will see that students become active and excited. So the effect of that to the student is it increase motivation or it increase students those who are shy and not participating in the class. So by that they will participate more. And now let's dig deeper to the observing and learning environment. Why is it important to observe learning environment in the classroom? So first is the physical environment. So we need to So the learning environment refers to the physical, social, emotional condition of the classroom where learning takes place. In simple words, it is the feeling and setting inside the classroom. It includes the physical space, the cleanliness, the seating arrangement, and the lighting. So the physical environment, it is very important that the classroom is well ventilated. Um, the classroom is well ventilated, um, clean. The lightnings are good. The seating arrangement is nice and mga space so that students feel comfortable while doing the task. So, for example, a well-lit and organized classroom with learning materials posted on the wall helps students feel comfortable and ready to learn. Next is the social and emotional climate. This refers to how students interact with each other and with the teacher. So you must ask, are the students respectful? Do they help each other? Do they feel free to speak? So that is social in how the students and teachers interact. So for example, a classroom where students are encouraged to share ideas without fear helps build confidence. So makatag siya confidence sa students. Next is inclusivity and respect for diversity. This means that accepting and respecting students from different backgrounds and abilities. By treating all students fairly, even if they have different backgrounds, languages, or abilities, we must respect their backgrounds, language, and their abilities. So next is the challenges in field observation. As pre-service teachers may encounter real-life situations that require careful observation during lessons, such as the student in disengagement during lesson, classroom management difficulties, yeah, we observed that. The next is the cultural and language differences, then diverse learning needs and abilities, limited resources or crowded classrooms, and teacher stress or time constraint. So the student disengagement during lesson. So this means that when you as teacher or as teacher, if you're a boring teacher, the students may disengage. So there, if the students lose interest and stop paying attention, we observe how teachers try to make them active again. So as we observe, makita na to, we will makita na to on how they are going to handle that kind, or how the teachers make them active again, so that the students disengagement. Next is classroom management difficulty. Yeah, it's very difficult to manage the classroom. So it refers to one of the challenges of the teachers to face in maintaining order, discipline, and a productive learning environment. So as pre-service teacher, we observe situations where students are noisy, disruptive, or not following instruction. For instance, a teacher might struggle to continue a lesson while some students are talking loudly or moving around the room. By observing how teachers handle the situations, such as reminding certain rules, using positive reinforcement, or changing seating arrangement, pre-service teachers learn practical strategies for managing behavior effectively. Next is cultural and language differences. This means students came from different backgrounds and speak different languages. This can affect understanding. So cultural, every students have different backgrounds, so we must um we will it's very important to know their backgrounds and their backgrounds so that we can adjust our teaching. Next is diverse learning needs and abilities. Diverse learning needs and abilities mean that students learn different ways and at different speed. Some students may understand a lesson quickly, while others need more time, support, a simpler explanation. So teachers may address this by giving different activities based on their ability levels, providing extra guidance, or using varied teaching strategies. Through observation, as pre-service teacher, we learn how teachers adjust instruction to support all learners. The next is limited resources or crowded classroom. So, limited resources classroom are common challenges as we observe on the other schools. They have limited resources. They don't have enough mga resources. For example, a class may have too many students and not enough chairs, books, or learning tools. So a teacher might handle this by letting students share materials, organize group work. Next is teacher stress or time constraint. Teacher stress refers to the pressure teachers experience due to heavy workloads, limited time to finish lessons, and multiple responsibilities. But as teachers, sometimes they feel tired, but they continue teaching. This shows how challenging the profession is. So as conclusion, field study is an important part of the teacher in education because it helps pre-service teachers to connect what they learn in theory to real classroom experiences. Through observation, reflection, and participation, they understand teaching strategies, classroom management, learner behavior, and the learning environment. So this part is field study is not just about seeing good teaching, it is also about understanding real problems. Because one day you will be the teacher handling those same challenges, and the more you observe now, the more prepared you will be in the future. Before I end, I want you to remember this. Every classroom you observe teaches you something. Every teacher you watch gives you ideas. Every reflection you write makes you better. So field study is where you start becoming a real teacher. So observe carefully, think deeply, and learn actively. And I am sure you will become an effective teacher and pass the line. Thank you for watching.